Your stats do not matter in Overwatch, and here's why. Winning a game of Overwatch focuses on winning multiple team fights across a map. You take fights from certain positions to take or defend map control. On hybrid, payload, and push maps, you take these fights around an ever-moving objective to control various parts of the map to complete the mode. And in hybrid, control, and the new Flashpoint game mode, you take these fights to gain control of a single point. In every game mode, the way in which you complete the objective is by controlling the map by winning a ton of fights throughout the match. Winning these fights can be boiled down to a very simple state of killing the enemy team more than they kill you. But how does all of this apply to the scoreboard? Well, if winning a game of Overwatch can be simplified to killing the enemy team more than they can kill yours, and there is one stat on the scoreboard that can kinda matter: your kill to death ratio. I'll explain this more later in the video, but let's talk about the stats that don't matter first. The most relevant stats in Overwatch are the ones that can be farmed by low impact but high output plays. But what does this mean? The most common example of this can be spamming damage into the enemy tank, or pumping heals into your own tank. Both of these actions boost your stats on the scoreboard by a lot, but barely actually achieve the goal of producing more eliminations than the enemy. Let's use an example that a lot of people generally don't like to hear: the good old backline Moira. Moira is often more effective when confirming kills than she is when spamming healing into her team's tank. Controversial opinion, I know, but let's dive deeper. Remember, to win a game of Overwatch, we need the enemies to die more frequently than our teammates by depleting the health pool of the enemy team before they can deplete the health pool of our team. So if there's an enemy soldier pumping damage into your half health tank and you're just perma healing as Moira, how does this mathematically work in terms of winning this fight? Well, the enemy soldier is adding 171 damage per second to his team's current output. Your Moira healing, however, is only mitigating this by 70 health per second. Overall, when it comes to winning or losing this fight, the enemy team will win this fight by obtaining eliminations at a rate of over 100 health per second. Of course, this soldier won't have a 100% accuracy in a real game, but even a 50% accuracy here will slowly gain his team the victory. So even though you would generate a ton of healing onto the scoreboard in this example, spamming heals into your tank is obviously a low impact play. But what high impact plays can we make here as a support instead? If you played more aggressively on Moira, trying to contest this soldier, the soldier's attention would move away from your vulnerable tank and onto you. Your tank is now taking 0 damage per second, better maintaining his current health pool than when he was taking 171 damage per second and being healed just for 70 health per second. As Moira, you can likely win the 1v1 with the soldier too, and wrap back around to heal your tank after the pressure has been lifted. This play only resulted in you achieving 200 damage on the scoreboard by killing the soldier, but put you in a position to actually win this fight by securing the elimination. If you're a DPS player, or the soldier in this example, you would also be guilty of committing a low impact but high statistical output play. If you focus on shooting the Moira before the half health tank, you'll eliminate the entire healing source and will be able to win this fight quicker. This concept applies across all roles, and what you generally want to be doing is focusing on which heroes you can eliminate in the quickest time possible. Overwatch is obviously a very nuanced game, so this is just an example, and a billion different factors would influence this in a real match. The purpose of this example was just to explain what a low impact but high statistical output play is, and how the alternative works better. So now that we've established why damage and healing stats aren't an accurate description of your performance within a game, let's talk about one stat that can matter: your kill to death ratio. This ratio, more commonly known as KD, is a simple comparison of your kills and deaths within a match. Your eliminations show your impact on confirming kills, and your death shows how frequently you're having no impact on the game whatsoever by being back in the spawn room. It can be a general indicator of performance, but has a lot of nuance to it. The obvious problem here is that Overwatch has a lot of matches that just aren't close at all. When you're on the receiving end of one of these games, it can be very common for everyone on your team to have more deaths than eliminations. This makes it hard to tell who has actually performed in a game, but does lead me onto the way in which your KD can be a useful indicator when comparing to the rest of your team. If you are getting rolled in a game and your team all have a KD of say 1 to 4, you can compare your performance against this. Being 3 to 2 would actually be a really good KD in this match, indicating that you're likely not the problem. However, being 0-6 may tell a story of you underperforming. Again, this certainly isn't a perfect stat and should be used within the context of your team, but it can often tell a story. If you're sitting at a sweet 21 to 2 KD and the rest of your team are closer to 7 and 5, this is likely a key indication to who's carrying this game. Again, Overwatch is a very nuanced game, so context is key when looking at any stat within a match. For example, if you have a teammate who is consistently eliminating 2 enemies before dying, a high death stat may not be the worst thing in the world here. The timing of these deaths also matters a lot. If your entire team is consistently dying before you in a fight, it doesn't really matter if the enemy team wrap around and kill you, or whether you manage to escape. Context is so important with stats, and you have to apply context when trying to analyze a game of Overwatch. Another factor that can be used to add context to the scoreboard is the hero that you're playing. An easy example of this would be Mercy. Mercy's entire gameplay focuses on healing and damage boosting, so you wouldn't ever flame a Mercy player for having 0 elims. But if you have a Zenyatta with 0 elims, that's a different story. There are certain heroes inside of Overwatch that naturally farm a lot of elims to inflate their KD ratio. These are typically heroes that will deal a lot of low impact damage to multiple targets. Examples of these would be D.Va, Symmetra, Torbjorn, and Moira. There are also heroes that have a ton of survivability, and thus end games with very few deaths. Examples of these would be D.Va, Wrecking Ball, Sombra, Tracer, and Moira. Heroes from both of these categories can end games with crazy high KD ratios due to their multi-target damage or their survivability, so it's important to apply this context when analyzing their KD. Similarly, there are also heroes in the game that naturally don't farm up high damage or healing numbers. The important note here is that these are not bad heroes. They simply offer impact or utility outside of raw damage and healing that doesn't show up on the scoreboard. Even when played super well, heroes like Roadhog, Sombra, Widowmaker, Kiriko, and Mercy will often finish games with lower than average damage. And for supports, Brig, Lucio, Mercy, and Zen don't require super high healing to provide the best value for their team either. With all of that being said, are you actually able to analyze the scoreboard for useful information? Well, yeah. As discussed previously, the best performance indicator on the current Overwatch scoreboard is your kill to death ratio. But maintaining a high KD should never be your primary focus within a game. Keeping in mind the objective of Overwatch and eliminating the enemy team before they can eliminate yours will always give you the best chance of winning. And farming any scoreboard statistic, even your KD ratio, will often have little impact on the outcome of a match. Tapping on every single enemy once from a mile away on Reaper to farm the elimination will give you a better KD, but it will not increase your chances of winning the game. The same goes for avoiding deaths. Yes, you should try to stay alive the majority of the time in Overwatch, but backing out of a completely winnable fight where your team is maybe down one player because you want to preserve your deaths will not increase your chances of winning a game, even if it does make you look better on the scoreboard. This video's intention is just to help you read the scoreboard better, and to help you block out the noise of your teammates screaming about how good they are for having 50,000 damage on Soldier 76. The key takeaway here is to pay little attention to the stats, to not care about what people may think, and to play the game properly if you really want to win more. If you want to learn more about efficiently killing enemies and making high impact plays, feel free to check out my target prioritization guide on the left of your screen now.